Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, developers, amazing people all throughout the world of crypto and blockchain. And today I have another amazing guest, and he's coming to me from actually the opposite side of the world, from Thailand. I am pleased to welcome our guest today. His name is Alexander Kalankhodzhaev. He'll let me know if I pronounced that correctly. He's the core engineer lead at Raiku, which is a company that's building coordination layers for Solana. Alexander, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's pronounced Kalankhodzhaev, but I know it's very complicated, so no worries. Yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah, let me probably introduce myself first.
Sure.
So my name is Alexander. Like you said, I'm based in Thailand. Yeah, I work in Party as lead core engineer. Yeah, like my background, I think, yeah, let's probably start with my...
Yep, your background, and if it's a logical background for what you're doing now.
Yeah, 100%. So I actually studied in Higher School of Economics and got a master's degree there. So I studied in the field which is known as business informatics. So it's like computer science that's related to finance and economics. Yeah, I started my career like 18 years ago in Ernst & Young and did quite a lot of fintech in the beginning. Then eventually I transitioned to Web 2 and did Web 2 for a big period of my life. And then eventually when Web 3 arrived, and it was a mixture of technology, computer science, and economics, I became super enthusiastic about all this and yeah, made this career move. And yeah, here I am now working in crypto.
And how do you love it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it a lot. And yeah, did many interesting things. And the problems that I'm solving here are very interesting. And, you know, it's all developing. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. So I want to find out, what those problems are. I want to find out, first of all, what Raiku is all about, including your expertise, what you're solving, and your vision for the future of Raiku and Solana.
Yeah, so in Raiku, we build a block space market, let's call it this way. So it's probably easier to show it with an example. So for example, if you run a business, you are manufacturing cars, and your business depends on metal supply. So you don't actually want to gamble. You want to make all the agreements in advance. You come to your supplier and you make a forward agreement. Yeah, so that whenever you need a new metal, yeah, you don't depend on the current price of it on the market. And that's actually what we do. So we build a layer, coordination layer for Solana, where you can book block space in advance. So let's assume right now the network is producing the slot number 1002, and you understand that you have a demand to lend your transaction in, let's say, in an hour in a slot number 1200. So you can book the block space in the upcoming slot, pay for it, and then give your transaction to us, and we will lend it. We kind of give you a commitment or a guarantee that your transaction would end on the Solana blockchain whenever you have it.
Whenever that block space's turn is to come up.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think that makes sense in like for Bitcoin where it's calculated where you have every 10 minutes, you have a block time, but Solana is so fat, like just so much being built on Solana with memes and with everything else. How quickly are you able to respond to the rapid, development and block space that's going on Solana? What are some of the challenges there?
Yeah, so the big challenge here is probably, so crypto is evolving. let's say this way, crypto is evolving, and these are not like just smart contract execution on chain anymore. So there's a demand from agents that are doing like trading. Is heavily used for financial speculations, and in order to support it, we need the blockchains. They need to evolve so towards the cost, the speed, the throughput, and the latency. So this is actually what we can see in Solana. Solana is very good in all these things, and the reason it's happening is that, well, it's unique architecture. And one of the things they introduced is they got rid of the mempool that we usually see on other blockchains. So on Ethereum, for instance, or any other, let's say, traditional blockchain, there's a mempool. You submit your transaction to a mempool, and you are quite certain that it will land on the blockchain sometime in the future. But on Solana, things are handled differently. Like on Solana, when you submit a transaction, it is sent directly to a leader. But when the demand is too high, like everyone is actually trying to send his transaction to the leader, but leader is limited. It has kind of two limits. One is the number of CUs, so it's like 50 million for now, CUs per block, and also it has a time limitation, like 0.4 seconds per block. So what might happen is that, so basically not everyone willing to get into the block might end up in a block, obviously. Yeah, so we are trying to remove this limitation, first of all. And yeah, that's basically what we're doing.
So removing limitations on the computational units so you can have more throughput, and so that you can basically predict or analyze where that block is going to be for the person who wants to get that space on that block, forward block.
Yes, absolutely. So if you're in a business and your business depends on your transactions landing on Solana, you don't want to gamble on it. You don't want to be dependent on the current load on the network. You want to be certain that when the time comes, you will land your transactions on Solana.
Awesome. So I like this concept of, focusing on the architecture, because a lot of people today, they don't focus on the architecture. They seem to focus on gambling with leverage. So why is it far more important to focus on the architecture and the infrastructure than it is in trying to get rich quick tomorrow by having 1000x leverage?
Well, I can say that, gambling and like playing with leverage is actually a bad thing. So if we look on the traditional market, like on stock exchange, for instance, the same thing is happening there. So it's mainly used for speculations. So even in traditional finance, so it's quite expected to see a similar situation on blockchain. And yeah, we can say it's the main driver right now for the blockchain. But it also introduces, it improves the technology. Let's put it this way, like what do we need from the blockchain to be successful with trading is it needs to be cheap, and it needs to be fast. Yeah, but is it bad, really? I don't think so. I mean, it opens like opportunity to other use cases like real-time game, real-time payment. Yeah, it's quite many. So different applications that are not possible on slow or expensive chains. I mean, it's a good thing. Even if it's used for speculation at the moment, still is good.
Got it, because people are using it. That makes sense. So how does blockchain architecture, affect developers and users worldwide, and how do you see this playing out, going forward?
Okay, yeah. So if you mean in general, like transitioning from Web 2 to Web 3 is a big change in paradigm, you need to think differently in order to build solutions on blockchain instead of like traditional web technology. If we are talking about a more modern thing, like the modern trends, actually, then yeah, let's just compare Solana to Ethereum. Yeah, with this thing with like Solana doesn't have this mempool thing, and developers and users, they need to adapt to it. So on Ethereum, for instance, as a user, I submit your transaction, I can see it landed on a mempool, and I'm quite certain it will end up on a blockchain one way, like sooner or later. On Solana, it happens a bit differently. Like there's no mempool. I try to submit transaction to a leader, and there's absolutely no guarantee that it will end up on blockchain. So let's think about this way. Like let's assume you have business and you need some kind of resource, let's say boxes. So you can actually have two strategies here. Like you can have warehouses, like let's say you have offices in London and in Paris. And one strategy is you use warehouses where you store boxes, and whenever you need them, you just make a delivery from your warehouse to the office. It's like the strategy that is used in Ethereum, for instance. Like they have a mempool, the transaction landed in there, you're safe. The other thing you can do is actually you can order a delivery from Paris, like delivery of boxes that you need from Paris to London, and another delivery from London to Paris. So your boxes, they, let's say, travel from one location to another, then they travel back. You don't need a warehouse, but you still have capacity. So you own the boxes that are traveling, and while they're traveling, you owe them, but you don't need a warehouse because like the boxes are always traveling. This is what we can see on Solana. The transactions are always transferring from one node to another that is not stored in any pool or any buffer. They just transmission, and it's fast, but it's unreliable. And what we can see right now is that users, they have to adapt to it, and they use quite aggressive strategies right now to submit their transactions. Like we already mentioned, on Ethereum, you submit your transaction, it's in the pool, you are fine. Here, you try to submit your transaction to a leader and a couple of next leaders, a couple of guys that will become leaders in the future. So you're basically spamming the network because you are not sure that your transaction will actually land anywhere. And this is not great. So this is one of the problems that we try to fix. Yeah, so we want to give people certainty, and we want to reduce the load on the network. Another thing that we can see is happening on the blockchain is that blockchain is evolving, is providing new means of deployment and new means of development to the developers. So like back in the old days when Ethereum was introduced, there was just one way of building solutions. You could write a smart contract, you could deploy it, and get it executed. Then Polkadot appeared, and they introduced a different mean for developers to build their solutions. They basically told everyone, now your solution is going to be another blockchain. So let's build this. They called it parachains. Let's build these parachains, integrate them into the relay, to secure the data, like to implement the consensus, let them exchange the data. But now your solutions are like every solution you build is a separate blockchain. And as we can see now, the landscape has grown even bigger. And yeah, there's like this modular approach that is provided as a mean of deployment, of building your application and deploying it. So basically you can use DAs, which are data availability layers. You can implement execution layers on L2 or L3. So there are rollups. So there are lots of ways, actually, lots of tools for developers to build what they want to. So I think these are like, yeah. So and actually, as in Raiku, we're also looking forward to these opportunities as well. So as I already mentioned, we are building this delivery channel that allows you to land your transactions in the blocks that you book in advance. And as soon as we have this delivery channel, there's a guaranteed delivery channel. What we want to do next is to grow our stack vertically and provide different extensions to the market, like the same thing, like off-chain execution, DA layers, and many more. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's all
Awesome. So
in the future.
awesome. So let me see if I got this. Maybe see if I got this right. It's the first time that somebody explained it to me like this. Okay. So it's like as far as the blocks, as far as the mempool, Ethereum has these like kind of like giant warehouses where the mempools are stored, while Solana has just-in-time inventory. But like so it's moving, so everything's like you don't have the warehouse like Ethereum has, but you're calculating based on the just-in-time moving inventory, so you don't have to have that in the warehouse. I understand that. But it seems like you said olden days. It seems like the Solana right now, and you're looking to improve this, is kind of like playing. Remember that old game Frogger, where cars are moving. You were the frog. You had to hop across the highway, and it kind of like seems like that's the current state. But the future state's going to be okay. You can go to this block at a certain time because the car is not going to go there because you already reserved that spot. So you're able to leap to that spot whenever you want.
Absolutely, yeah. This is what we're trying to introduce to the market, and yeah, we'll try to change the game here a little bit and give people some certainty, like they have on other blockchains, but also have the same benefits that Solana provide with their like architecture not having a mempool. Yeah, absolutely.
I understand now. Thank you. I did not understand before. Now I do. I get it. Appreciate that. So, you said also, you brought up the concept of modular. There's been a lot of talk over the past few years. And arguments? What's better, modular, or monolithic? So, what's better during what situations? Is there a clear-cut choice if modular or monolithic? And what do you prefer as a developer?
Well, I don't think there is any clear-cut choice, to be honest here. Like every type of blockchain is good in its own area and is applied differently. Like if we're looking for speed, and by speed I mean like high throughput, low latency, yeah, I think the monolithic approach is a good one. So this is what we see on L1 blockchains. Yeah, so when you have a single blockchain that's responsible for everything, like for execution, data availability, for consensus, everything is in one place. It's like built done, it's efficient, it's optimized, like highly optimized. The performance is great. It provides an easy mental model Like it's better understandable, it's easier to deal with, gives you better user experience, gives you better speed. But if you're building like something that needs flexibility or something that, so you don't want to actually implement all these three things like data availability, execution, and consensus. You want to focus on something specific, like then yeah, you can use a modular approach. Actually, use some data availability layer like provider, or yeah. So it's up to you. There are things available on the market. You can reuse some other projects, some other tools, but you need to be ready to have more integrations and to deal with more components because you are building on some other technologies.
Got it. So I had an interview recently. Somebody said to me that if you bring a new L1 blockchain to the market now, it's dead on arrival, right? Um, how do you agree with that? And if not, then what do you think needs a new L1 chain has to do in order to be competitive in today's, architectural landscape?
Well, it's a tricky question. Actually, the answer is probably I don't know, like for sure, what is supposed to be done here, because you know, uh, there were lots of blockchains that were competing with each other, but they actually provided the same things, uh, and were done in the same with the similar ideas in mind. But then came Solana that completely revolutionized the area. Um, yeah, and they rethought the blockchain and rebuilt everything from scratch with completely different ideas, and it works, and it works quite good. So yeah, the answer is I don't know. There might be something that, so the last word might not have been said yet. So there might be something in the future and some revolutionary idea to come.
Got it. Got it. So we're seeing a lot of more institutional adoption now. You're seeing ETF applications in the US, which the SEC has been dragging their feet on, right? And I'm talking about the SEC because if they see this podcast, maybe they will stop dragging their feet. You know, but how do you see Solana's future as far as being adopted by institutions and then being used inside of institutions, as they transition from Web 2 to Web 3?
Well, I think Solana's future is quite, uh, yeah, it's quite good. Like it's we can see the adoption grows. There are more and more solutions that are coming on Solana, like more and more builders, and yeah, so it's doing well with the regulation stuff. Um yeah, I think it's quite good. Like, and there's a huge potential in Solana, and even more potential with the growth. And we can see like it adapts very fast, like adapt new changes, adapt new ideas. There are lots of improvements coming all the way, all the time, and yeah, it's all good.
And then as that, so I agree with you. But then as the more adoption occurs, you know, I would think there'd be more of a need for Raiku and building that coordination layer. You know, is that right? What do you think? Like, what do you think as far as the institutional side? They'll adopt your coordination layer as well.
Yeah, I think so. Uh, there is a actually we can see there's a demand for what we provide and for what we are building. Uh, we have quite um yeah, to have quite well-established partnerships with some key players on the market, and yeah, I'm quite certain that everything's gonna be all right with Raiku and Solana.
Great, excellent. So we're at a point now in this market where you know everybody's waiting for the next leg up, right? So I just want to get a sense of when you think that's going to happen, and what you're looking forward to in the next half year. What do you think?
Um, I don't know, but I hope there will be a huge bull run, and yeah, we will be, I don't know, bathing in money. But yeah, no one knows for sure.
Yeah. No one knows for sure. Some people say they do, but they don't. They don't. We'll see what happens, right? So, I want to thank you very much for your time today. I enjoyed speaking with you, and this is a good conversation. So, thank you. And I have one last question. It's how can people find out more information about you, about Raiku? How can they do that?
Yeah, this information is available on our website. You can Google it. We have Twitter, we have Discord, uh, we have LinkedIn. We have presence pretty much everywhere. And yeah, just try to Google it and you'll find lots of information about us.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you too. I was glad to see you.